12 different jobs that I had before I became a pipeline welder. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is now holiday season. If you're looking for gift ideas, check out our website, arosswelding.com. Scroll all the way to the bottom, almost all the way to the bottom. You'll see a section that says favorites, my favorites. Those are gear, tools, all kinds of stuff that I use and that I believe in. So show that to whoever needs to see that to get Christmas gift ideas. And also to get notified about sales that we have in the Aross Welding store or new products that we will be dropping soon in the Aross Welding store. Get on the email list. That is all the way at the bottom. Punch in your email, that'll put you on the email list, and you will get an email about anything that happens with Aross Welding. But we don't want you to get left out or not be notified in case you miss a video that we mentioned in or something. So getting on the email list is key to getting notified. All right, so in today's video, I want to go over all the jobs that I had before I got my first pipeline job. I'm excited to do this because I think it keeps us grounded. Those of you that maybe scroll around on social media quite a bit and you see all these people that are doing their dream job, pipeline welding or mobile rig welding, and it maybe gets you to feeling discouraged because you're not where you want to be. So anyway, I just want to bring this up so we can all remember where old Aross came from, you know what I mean? So it was way more than I thought it was. I got a whole list here, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different jobs that I had before I became a pipeline welder. And my first pipeline job, I was 21, I think. So it just gives you some perspective. So the very first the very first job that I had that I can remember at the youngest age was concrete work. My grandpa, my dad's dad, his name's Jess Ross. He is the one that originated the saying, learn something every day. Spent a lot of time, me and my brother both, and a couple of our cousins, spent a lot of time with our grandpa growing up doing concrete work and hauling square bales. We did have a wagon. For those of you that don't know, you may just try to Google Do Easy wagon or Do Easy hay wagon, maybe. I don't really know, but to kind of see what I'm talking about. So we did it. We hauled hay commercially. I'll get back to the concrete here in a minute, but we hauled hay commercially. So we did have a wagon, so that made it better. But it also it just upped the work. You didn't have time to sit around really, other than to and from the field and to and from the barn. But other than that, like, it was just one bale after another. So all that to say is I had a lot of very physical work as a kid hauling hay. So hauling square bales at a very young age, started probably at 10. I remember starting to drive the wagon in the field whenever I was 13, and I know I was hauling hay before that. So I would say roughly 10, started hauling hay. Done that till I was at least 17, possibly 18. And then, like I said, before that, or really at the same time, doing hauling hay and doing concrete work. Concrete work was my grandpa had his own concrete business. We'd done that. I learned a lot about concrete work, but I also learned that I didn't like it very much. But for me, it was a way that I can make my own money as a kid. It started out as a babysitting service. I'm pretty sure we got paid $3 to $5 a day whenever we were probably 5 or something. And my memory at that age, the one memory I do have, I was in the floorboard of my grandpa's 72 Chevy single cab yellow pickup with a utility bed on it, and cold wintertime. It must have been Christmas break. And so we got sent with our grandpa to go work, and I just remember freezing, and I was in that floorboard trying to feel the heat is all I remember at that age. But anyway, so as I got a little older, we made a little more per hour, and we just did concrete work like every summer after school let out. That was what I was going to do. I was going to work, getting up at 5 a.m. because during the summer you got to get up earlier so the concrete doesn't get too hot. You know, you gotta wake up earlier. The cooler, the better. Yada yada yada. the main thing I learned about concrete work, because I didn't want to do it, which is what led me to welding. So anyway, concrete work, hauled hay. I worked, I wrote these down out of order. I chopped firewood was another thing that I'd done. I can't remember if I'm sure we chopped firewood with my grandpa a little bit, that same grandpa, because he'd done that also. I do remember me and my brother used his chainsaws whenever he wasn't doing it as much, so we did have access to his chainsaws, and we were able to cut firewood whenever we were in high school. So me and my brother done it for a little bit, and then me and another buddy also cut firewood in high school, delivered it, stacked it, split it, the whole nine. An odd job that I had that I wrote down here that I remember was I framed houses for like a week. I done forgot everything I learned, and I don't even know why I was only there for a week, because it's not like me. I don't know if they just only needed somebody for a week, or if I just didn't like it, or if I found another job. I bet it was one of them deals where I found another job, like, he was very aware that, like, I wasn't going to hire on framing houses, but I just remember framing houses for roughly a week. And every time I think about this topic, I'm like, man, that is crazy. I daggone framed houses for a week, but I don't remember hardly anything about it. Scooped snow. So a buddy of mine, his family had equipment and stuff. They did harvest during the summer, and they also used their skid steers and stuff to clear parking lots during the wintertime. And they would always have the young guys, myself in high school or whatever, on a shovel, getting in the areas where around shopping cart corrals and stuff, to where the skid steer couldn't get. So shoveled snow, and then we started getting into the welding. So looks like I have wrote down here 1, 2, 3 single hand jobs. One was for a landowner making, I honestly don't remember, but it couldn't have been more than $8 an hour or something. I don't even remember my age. I think I must have been able to drive, I think. So I guess I might have been 16. I might have been jobbing out then. But anyway, I remember working off a trailer that the landowner had. This landowner had, a fair amount of money, so he had a crew a landscape, like a kind of a full-time landscape crew and stuff. And so they had a welding trailer put together. I don't remember how I got the job, don't remember the connection to that job or whatever, but I just remember welding on a bunch of 3-inch, if I remember right, 3-inch like pipe fence. It was I think a 3-rail, 3-inch post, 3-inch horizontals, and then they painted it all black, and they stretched that black chain link on it. But I remember there was his whole perimeter of his, I don't know how many acres, a bunch of acres, had this on it. And I remember being in the kind of like in the sticks, like there was a bunch of trees and stuff around. There was, for the little, I don't remember how long I worked there. I would say a couple of months. I don't know. I just remember being kind of in the hills and kind of in, I don't remember open plain. I remember trees and brush and stuff. So got a lot of experience there building fence. That's where some of my fence building come from. Another single hand job, I remember the pay on it. I remember this was, I think, right before I could drive, so it must have been before the deal I just talked about. It was $7 an hour, and I believe my buddy that I chopped firewood with, I think he got us that job, I assume. I really am not sure how we got that deal, but we both, again, worked off a trailer, farmer's trailer, had a little Ranger 8 on it, and we built H-braces out in the middle of the pasture. This was very open, kind of like the grass is looking right now, like this time of year. And, some of it. But anyway, we worked there for a decent amount of time. Must have been mostly summer, though, actually. So maybe the grass wasn't like this. Details may not matter here, but anyway, $7 an hour building H-braces and setting posts with no water out in the middle of nowhere. And just like I said, just built, again, pipe fence. Just learning how to build pipe fence. $7 an hour. Because it was only $7 an hour. Oh, and we also worked in the shop a little bit. We did build a little 3-point to put a ball on it to pull a trailer. Like, put it on the back of your tractor and hook on, move your trailers around with your tractor. We built one of them for them whenever we worked there. So anyway, back to the fence. Oh, the amount per hour. Yeah, I remember this because we were only making $7 an hour. So in our mind, how do you make more money? You get more hours. I remember like an 84 hour or maybe 100 hour week or something. Like we were there early as we could, late as we could stay. We was there 7 days a week. It didn't matter. We was like, we need hours because we need money. You know what I mean? Like, so $7 an hour, single hand, if you will, working for a farmer, building H braces. And then another, I just said, did I say 3? No, I got 4 wrote down here. 4 single hand, but make that 5 or 6 actual single hand jobs. But these other ones were shop jobs, so we weren't building fence, so I don't know why. I just don't, in my mind, I don't think about them as single hand, but they are essentially single hand. So single hand, for those of you who don't know, just means where you don't have your own equipment, like I do now, like on my truck. You know, I got all my own stuff here. Another single hand job that I've talked about on the channel quite a bit is building feedlots, welding on a lot of fence, building feedlots. Worked for a guy in Enid, Oklahoma. He built a bunch of feedlot, bunch of fence. He was very efficient at it. He was very much that guy that, you know, put in systems and, you know, paid us by the foot, not by the hour. So that was even, you know, like, that's where I learned to kind of like hustle, like, because it was fun to make more money, but you had to, like, I mean, just hood down all the time, just welding. That's all you think about all day until lunch. And then I don't remember getting any breaks. If they were just authentic breaks. They weren't like, you know, 10 and 2 or nothing. It was usually on a Saturday, Saturdays and Sundays, because that was we were in high school at this time. So again, lots more pipe fence, 2 3/8 pipe, lots of clips, stuff, bunch of welding. And then the guy that got me, that buddy that got me that job, his dad owned Horizon Smokers back whenever we were in high school. Worked at my buddy's dad's shop there, and I built smokers. You know, it was kind of like an assembly line, you know, like a small scale, if you will, compared to like a, you know, car assembly line. But like, I remember building, I don't know if I got to weld on any of the actual drums, like the actual pipe. I built a lot of the stands, you know, the legs with the platforms on the bottom and the square feet. I remember welding on a lot of square feet and a lot of, they had jigs for everything. So yeah, I built smokers for a while, cut a lot of parts, and then done that. Was that during the summer? No, I feel like that was after school. I remember, again, the buddy that I chopped firewood with and worked some single hand jobs with. I remember before I had my license, or I may have had my license, but I rode with him a lot from school because he had I drove my 95, the one that y'all know about, and it got not the greatest fuel mileage, and he drove a little Jeep or something, and it got a little better mileage, so I always rode with him. But I do remember going over there after Votech or after high school. It must have been after Votech, because I had Votech in the afternoons. So anyway, after 3 o'clock, we went there and worked from the, you know, 4 to, I don't remember how late, 8 or something, you know, at night. So part-time, I guess you could say. Worked on smokers. And then the story that most of you have heard, after high school, I worked at Stillwater Steel. It's a steel supply there in Stillwater, Oklahoma, but they also do custom fabrication. They got a brake press, burn table, and a fabrication area. And I was a welder back there, and that was my first job where I actually learned fabrication. All these other jobs, for the most part, as I'm saying that now, I realized I had some like fabbing experience, but not near the amount I got whenever I worked there. There was a foreman, you know, welder that worked there whenever I started, and he taught me all kinds of fabrication tricks and like common things to fit things up, square things. I mean, just ton of handrails. I mean, you name it, we probably built it. That's not true, but tons of handrails, any custom anything. I built a lot of stuff, fuel tanks, repaired trailers. I mean, just done a number of things there. Worked there for 3 years. So that was my first, like, you know, grown-up job. I was moved out of the house, and I, you know, went to work 40 hours a week and whatnot. So I worked there for 3 years, and then I built. We're almost to the end now. We're almost to the pipeline job. We've got 2 more kind of gigs before the pipeline job. So after Stillwater Steel, as I was working at Stillwater Steel, I was building my welding truck. In other words, I was just putting a mobile welding rig together. I had my 95 and I bought a weld machine for it while I worked at Stillwater Steel. I was doing mobile welding work when I worked there for myself, but then I finally just quit and worked for myself for a while, for like 6 months or so, building pipe fence and again, just any kind of mobile welding work. I wasn't saying no to anything back then because I was trying to get established. So after Stillwater Steel, I worked for myself essentially, mobile welding, and then I got a job. Oh, I forgot another one. I had another single hand job while I was working for myself. For about a week, I worked for a guy building mud pits because at that time I was trying to get on with a drilling rig yard there in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and they weren't needing anybody, or they didn't know me, but I kept stopping by the drilling rig yard I forget how often. I doubt it was every day, but it was probably like once or twice a week. I kept stopping in there and bothering that weld boss, I guess you could say. And while I was waiting on that, if you will, I was working at a single hand shop making, I think it might have been $15 an hour then, building mud pits, running a wire gun. And after a week of that, the foreman at the drilling rig yard called me and asked if I wanted a job. And he offered me $5 less than what he was paying other rig welders. I think they were paying $55 an hour back in 2011, I believe that was. $55 an hour, and he offered me $50 an hour because he didn't know me. Again, working for less money to get experience, to get established. And I took it, worked there for 6 months. And then after working there for 6 months, I got my first phone call for my first pipe test. And that is where my pipeline journey began. I feel like I just talked for 20 minutes. That's how long my camera's been going right now, 21 minutes. Now you know how much experience was behind, I kind of talked about the 2 years of welding school, but it's behind what got me to pipeline welding. I also didn't talk about driving an hour to an old man's house to teach me and my buddy how to weld downhill, drive back to the welding school that I went to learn how to do the branch test, how many nights I worked after Stillwater Steel welding on pipe, calling my brother, asking questions because my brother's a couple years older than me and he was pipelining, to learn how to weld downhill to get on a pipeline job. Lots and lots and lots of work and determination got to my first pipeline job, and lots of experience. Not just lots of work, but lots of experience. So I always knew I wanted to weld out of my truck. I wasn't necessarily always hell-bent on pipelining, but I did obviously gravitated towards it for whatever reason. We can talk more about that later, but I always knew I wanted to work out of my own truck. I remember having that thought whenever I worked at Stillwater Steel and their torch, because they don't use a torch much. They got a plasma, and obviously doesn't make much sense for most of the stuff they do. But anytime we had to use a torch, it was just dirty, and it was just like, and that just drove me nuts. I was like, I need something, like I need my own space where I can organize things, I can keep stuff the way I like it. Like I just had this urge to have my own area, and that was, for me, whenever you come from, very little money, a welding truck is a lot cheaper than a shop, kind of, I guess. Some may argue that, I don't know. I've learned a lot since then, but at the time, that's what I seen, that's what I knew, and so that's what I worked for, and that's why I still have a welding truck today. That's why I enjoy welding out of my truck. It's just it's just what I enjoy most. So that's everything that I done, all the jobs I had before I got my first pipeline job. I hope you enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you're looking for Christmas gift ideas, check out our website, arosswelding.com. Check out my favorites page to get on our email list and get notified. Scroll all the way to the bottom, punch in your email, and don't you worry, you will get notified whenever we drop a new product, have a sale. You will be the first to know. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome weekend, and remember, learn something every day.